Hey everybody, tag LifeDoneFree. Hey, I'm going to do another one of my comment videos. I really love reading the comments, and man, you people are smart. And so we're going to do another quick one over the last 4 or 5 videos, and I hope you enjoy it. So come on. Okay, so Grumpy Acres Farm says something about the pace at which you are building your homestead when you manage to wear out a tool like that. This is such a great statement. For me, I feel like we're moving at a snail pace.
I feel like you break lots of tools.
Yeah, right. It's not just about working hard. It's also using tools and systems that allow us to manage our energy. These little pliers save me hours of twisting wires, and then these hours I get to apply, to other items on the homestead. I just still can't get over the pace because, again, I feel like I'm moving, super slow.
We've been working on this house for 3 years.
Yeah.
So 3 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is. Linnywood said automotive seats are loaded with hog rings. They hold the seat covers and foam padding to the frame. I had not even considered that these pliers would be used for upholstery, but
I didn't know that they were used for that. I'd never even seen them before. You brought them home, and we've used them in the garden. We've used them in the chicken coop. Mm-hmm. We've used them. I think we've used them several places. They've come in. They're really easy to use.
Yeah, I really appreciated this point. I'm going to remember that. Next time I have a seat that's falling apart, or something like that. Continuing on the tool video, Homeschool Daddy Journal said, "Is this just for convenience and a time thing? I use my multi-tool to keep my big hogs, turkeys, kids, and chickens in. To me, it's about energy management. And again, if I can spend an hour, putting the fence up versus 8 hours of putting the fence up, not just that, but the wear and tear on my body. If you twist wire for an entire day, your arms and shoulders and, wrists are going to be, completely wore out."
Yeah, we've tried all kinds of other material too. We've tried zip ties. We've tried wire twisting. We've broken other twisting handles, and this is just like using a stapler. Really, it's just that easy.
Yeah. Going on to the building community video. Sugar Creek Homestead said, "This is a great conversation, something I'm struggling with now. Having moved to a new area at the onset of the pandemic has been full of challenges. Building relationships is not easy and lots of work. The problem is, building relationships makes all of us vulnerable. We have to put ourselves out there a little bit, and we also have to be willing to give of ourselves, which is contrary to everything that goes on. Our modern programming only really encourages people to look out for themselves."
Yeah, this is something you tell me a lot too. I have to talk to strangers, which I get anxious, and it's overwhelming sometimes. I would rather
not.
But I was at the farm store the other day, and I got the manager's cell phone number because she wanted to learn how to make chapstick, and I thought, hey, I could do that. That's easy.
Yeah. Well, and then those relationships, where does that go from there?
Right. Oh, she has dairy goats, so might be able to get some milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Networking's everything. Networking will get you a long ways. And, I take advantage of relationships in a good way, but, all the time. I've got a very good friend of mine who is an engineer at a lumber company, for example. And, those 2x4s I talked about I built, he actually got for me. And some of the semi-loads of material, and without going out and putting myself out there, without visiting with people, without trying to be kind to people and be generous to people, right? You have to show the love if you're going to get the love.
Yeah.
Pete the Squatchy said, "What a great video. Thank you. Now, what would you do when you have a buddy that thinks like you and you struggle with the A-type personality? I've been learning a lot to put my thoughts aside and try other folks' idea, and it's been about a 50-50 split, so I think it's pretty good. Also, the spouse subject is so super important, and I am thankful." Squatchy out. Well, first of all, Squatchy, let me tell you something. If you have a spouse that's supportive, you are miles ahead already. Just like in a marriage, compromise is critical to every relationship. Squatchy, I can tell you that you and me together are smarter than I am alone. Right? You and me together are smarter than you are alone. And what's really interesting about it is you're going to learn either way. You're going to get a great lesson out of it either way. You're either going to learn, hey, I don't want to do it like that. It didn't work, right? Or you might learn some really cool ways to do things. I have people, teach me all the time about things that I really probably know more than they do about. So it's pretty neat. But
yeah, well, and you can't do everything. You can't be in charge of everything.
Right.
And I applaud you for trying it a different way, because there are some folks out there that we know that don't want to try it any other way. They just know how to do it.
Yep.
And
yeah, I think what's interesting about this particular point is, B and I on the farm, there are tasks that go on every day where we don't really delegate the work so much, because we both do the work, but what we delegate is the management of the work. Right. Right. And I think this is super, super important. And, like, for example, the chickens. B is in charge of the chickens. If she wants something done a particular way, I just do it that particular way. And there's a lot of times I think to myself, why would you do it that way? But at the end of the day, I can't be in charge of everything. And, B can't be in charge of everything. It's just too much information and too much to have to stress over. Compromise, right. Delegation, right. Julia Hovey says, I think I would consider how good a steward someone is. Do they take care of their equipment, their land, themselves? If everything goes downhill, will we have to maintain what we have? I think this is a great point. Use it up, wear it out, or repurpose it. And, often I go to auctions, and typically what I'm looking for auctions is things I can make other things out of, not necessarily, the piece of equipment or whatever it is. I've got a lot of equipment, lawnmowers and skid loaders and things like that we use. And man, I'm telling you, I spent a lot of time maintaining. I mean, a lot of time. And, number one reason we built the shop was so that I could go out and maintain it. But this is not something that I'm as good at as B is. Yeah. But that's
I learned it from my dad. My dad, he would mow the yard and then lift the mower up and clean underneath it. And we actually knew he was getting sick in his later days because he stopped doing those things. And then when you're not taking care of your items, they tend to not last as long. So it helps to keep things... if you maintain them, they last longer.
Yeah. Julie, I think that's a great point. Suzanne Sullivan, 65, says, fellow Northeast Kansan, looking forward to growing our group. Thanks for the tips. Well, first, Suzanne, I hope you attend the Midwest Preparedness Project next week.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Yeah. If for anybody who's interested, it's listed on Facebook and MeWe under the Midwest Preparedness Project. Basically, we go out and we camp all week long.
Family friendly.
And, there's classes that go on. There's all kinds of instructors will be out there. We'll do a potluck dinner. We'll do
Barter
Town, which is so much fun. It's all of us bring wares and goods, and no money is allowed. And so you have to barter for your items. And it's so neat to watch, because there's tables with, blackberries and, trees, and then honey, and
pillows. Somebody had pillows.
Yep. Crocheted items, knitted items.
Lots of
just all kinds of gear, stuff that someone's replaced or upgraded, and it's a really neat experience. So I certainly hope you make it out.
Yeah, that we would love to see you. Make sure you seek us out if you do come.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the video about the rainwater system, Champagne Reed said, "Wow, this is great. It actually doesn't seem too difficult, which is awesome. So this gives me a lot of hope. Thank you so much for sharing the cost. It really helps to know so I can wrap my head around what kind of investment I'm looking at. I'll definitely be referring back to this in the coming months. Thanks so much for putting this together, and I can't wait for the next video." Well, as I always say to Champagne, Champagne comments a lot, and she's always got good comments. She's articulate and intelligent, and so I love quoting her. But the truth is, it's just not complicated. And what you guys need to know is I'm not a plumber. I didn't come into this process saying, hey, I'm going to make my whole house run on rainwater and well water and all of these options. I know right how to do it. I knew what I wanted the end to be, but I didn't know how to get there. I had to do research and
Lots of research.
Lots of research. Yeah. Just, trying to figure it out. But the truth is anybody can build a system if you're just determined and committed to the process.
Yeah. And we actually had a plumber come out after you hooked everything up, and just to kind of give an okay, and he sat back and looked at it and looked at it some more, and then he said, well, I wouldn't have done it like that, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. Right. And then we hooked up the well, and he said it works.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one switch on the pressure tank he had to change. You remember that?
No, it wasn't on the pressure tank. It was on the well. On the well, the power coming into the well, one of the switches that I had in there was backwards. Yeah. Yeah. But and I guess this is another important thing, you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, and you have to just accept the fact that you're going to make those mistakes. That's what self-sufficiency is. That's what it is by its very definition, is to make mistakes. I was talking to my good buddy Mo last night, and he is such an interesting guy. But, we were talking about how I had proposed to him that maybe the measurement of how good a homesteader you are isn't really about what kind of plants you can grow or how well you can grow them, or what kind of animals or how well you can grow them. Maybe it's really about how well you can deal with the hurdles. How well can you bounce from, one issue to the next issue to the next issue to the next issue, because it's full of issues.
Yes.
And just accept it. It's when things go wrong for me, guys, I could give you all kinds of examples of how things have gone wrong along the way. What I try to focus on is what's the lesson it's trying to teach me. What can I gain out of this that prevents me from making another mistake? Especially, in the case of, the shit hits the fan or life really gets tough. Those mistakes become more and more expensive as time wears on. So I'm just thankful I get a chance to learn my mistakes now. Before I have to count on them.
Yes.
Yeah. A channel that I watch, Angry Homesteader, said, this is awesome. Thank you, kind sir. We have 2 water tanks, but need to do the rest. Is your pump working from your solar system? Well, everything works from my solar system. So I run the entire property off the solar system, the house, the processing kitchen, the shop, the chicken coop. We run the well water, the rainwater systems from it. But the components that I used in it, once you get beyond the solar system, are all just regular 120 volt, regular house power stuff. So it's super convenient. A lot of it is really plug and play. Me and B have done some, or at least have had some conversations about building, in reference to the rainwater, building just a box basically that has the tank, the pump, the pressure switch, all of the basics, the filters, all nice and tight, and maybe see if I could sell a couple of them. But maybe that for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, P.S. Angry Homesteader, I love your greenhouse.
Yes. We love your greenhouse. A friend of ours, Pat Wiley, said, is there a reason that you put the 2 filters after the tank? I asked that same question. Yeah. I can understand putting the UV filter there, but keeping the tank clean would extend its life, wouldn't it? This is a great point by Pat. When I did my research, every example that I came up with had the filters after the pressure tank. But to her point is valid to me that if you filtered out more of the debris prior to the pressure tank, it would, in my opinion, it's
keep it clean.
Conceivable that it would extend the life in it.
Especially, there's a bladder inside that tank, right? That
yes.
You cannot clean.
Yes. Well, we've got a sediment filter prior to the tank.
Yes.
To take out the bigger chunks.
Stuff.
There's just a screen in there. But I don't have one of the finer paper filters prior to it. But I think this is an absolute great point, Pat. And
maybe if there's a plumber out there watching this, they can...
Yeah.
They have a different answer. Maybe they could touch base with us.
Yeah. I'd like that. So thank you much, Pat. And I'm going to see you in a couple days.
Yes.
Cheryl Nugent said, super interesting, well above my knowledge and abilities. I commented to Cheryl pretty much the same comment, but, at one point it was above my knowledge and skills too. I had never attempted anything like it. Turns out that it's pretty easy, but guys, I promise you, I've been building stuff my whole life, and there's not a single project that I go into, especially on the homestead, because it's so new to me, that I'm 100% sure. I do some reading. I do some
really, because you seem so confident when it comes to doing it.
Yeah, I kind of believe in the duck theory. You know what that is?
No.
Okay, so the duck theory says that I'm going to be the duck. I'm going to be calm and collect it on top of the water and paddling like hell underneath. Okay?
Yeah.
So the good news, I know the basics. I can get me through it. But I do reading, and I use YouTube, and I do all of those things. But some of it also is just sitting down. And, there'll be times I'll take a chair, and I'm out building the turkey coop or whatever it is, and I'll just take a chair and just sit out away and just sit there and stare at it for a little while and try to get my head wrapped around on the process. So the truth is, all of these things that are done are not, incredibly complicated. You just got to be committed to go do it.
Yep. And sometimes redo it.
But again, that's in that part of the learning experience.
It is.
I mean, freedom is not a destination, right?
Right.
Freedom is a journey.
Yes.
And those triumphs and also the tribulations are part of that journey.
Yeah.
Moving on to building our house. So Angelina Fales said, definitely something to be proud of. Also, considering the recent price increases in building materials, your timing was excellent. Yeah, well, so this is an interesting story. So when I knew we were going to go do this, I went and started doing shopping and some of those kind of things, because at the time I wasn't in a big hurry. I knew that what I could do is kind of pick and choose along the way a little bit. So I found some semi-loads of materials that I bought on clearance, and like the siding that's on my house and all of the buildings. I bought a whole semi-load of, enough to do all of it, plus some at a discount. And so we just began to stockpile, material. And it's interesting, I look around my homestead and it frustrates me and it gives me anxiety to have pallets of stuff everywhere. But if you don't do that kind of shopping, then you're just paying retail for everything. And I think one of the arts to homesteading is, can you make $1, $2? I get a lot of comments about, I wish I had those resources, and I understand that everyone's resource, their available resources are different. But I bought a lot on clearance. I bought a lot on sale, and I go to auctions all the time. And I just bought a big pallet of 2-inch angle iron, 10-foot long sticks, and I have no use for them today. But
yet
I will absolutely at some point have a use for them. So, Angelina, let me tell you something. I'd like to be able to tell you that I have this amazing foresight and that I knew all of this was coming. But the truth is, blind squirrel finds nut.
Well, and if we had known that OSB would be $60 today, we would have purchased a lot more.
Yeah, I'd have bought a semi-load, because I could use a couple pallets today, but I am not paying $60 a sheet for OSB. MS Homesteader says, would you be willing to share the general cost of what you've done this far on the house? What is the square footage? It looks huge. So the house is 3,400 square feet right now. When we're completed with it, because I have one more pod to build, it'll be 4,000 square feet. That is a big house, but I have 2 grown children who at some point in their life will have a spouse and 1.5 kids. And so I'm planning on the day when they all come home. And so I built my house actually to be able to deal with that. And so, instead of having separate bedrooms, I have 3 master suites, right? So that each family has their own space. And again, I did that just because I love them, and I want to look out for their best interests. And so that's kind of why I did it. In reference to cost goes, building it. Now, this is just a number in reference to the building material, right? Putting the building up, the roofing, the plumbing, the electrical, any of the, heating systems and those kind of things that go into the house. I think we're right about $83,000.
84, yeah.
$84,000 is what we've put into it over the course of the last, 3 years. One of my favorite comments here, Urban White Buffalo Farm said, now, let me back up. So this comment that he made in the 3 heart attacks video was much longer than this. So what I did is I copied and pasted the beginning and the end, just because it was a long comment. But he said, hey, y'all, another great interview. Everyone has a story. Everyone has difficulties and problems, distractions, obstacles, and things that try to stop them. Character defined the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. Character is what defines who you are and what you do. Some folks will give a million reasons why everything will not work, or why they will not let you. Some folks will not listen when folks say you can't do it, or it will not work. The most important thing that I have learned is that no matter how bad I have it, within minutes I can find several people who have it worse. That is what humbles me. This is what brings me front and center with God, and I can truly thank Him for everything I have, including my problems, as so many others have it worse. I do not whine anymore for those same reasons. Helping others, praying for others, and doing my own work keep me too busy to complain. God bless y'all. Take care, stay safe, and bye for now. I think this is just such an amazing comment. There's a famous quote. There's a famous quote that says, "Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way you're right." And to me, attitude is absolutely everything. I love being around positive people.
Yeah.
Positive people typically have very good character, as the Great White Buffalo talks about. And I don't know the Great White Buffalo, but I'm going to tell you, just that simple statement alone, I could absolutely hang out with this guy, and we could build rocking chairs or something, and have a blast.
Yeah, nobody likes toxic people.
No.
The one's always the victim and Debbie Downer. Nobody likes to be around those people.
Yeah. So I really appreciate this comment, and I hope, White Buffalo, I hope you continue to comment, because I think there's a lot of useful stuff there, and I'd love to, get you on the show sometime. I think there's a lot of people who could learn a lot from your, the way you look at life and the way you stay positive. Finally, the last question was from Rich S. He says, "I don't understand why you and others call what you're doing homesteading, in light of the fact that homesteading has been done away with many years ago. All you folks are doing is buying a piece of property and building a home on it. So why do you call it homesteading?" I read this comment several times prior to replying to Rich, and I actually really like this comment. At first glance, it may seem harsh, but I've had several conversations with Rich, and he's a good guy with a ton of knowledge. And his point's actually correct. Homesteading in its original form doesn't happen much anymore. We are not, tracking across the plains in a covered wagon to live off the land. In my modern definition of homesteading, is really about just trying to be self-sufficient as possible. But I think to Rich's point, is that I talk about freedom all the time, but I also believe that it's almost impossible to be 100% self-sufficient or free. But guys, this shouldn't discourage anyone. Through commitment and effort, you can get very, very close. And someday I would also love to get Rich on the show, because I think it would be a, kind of a riot.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but I wouldn't take it away from the people who are trying to live off the land and provide for themselves. And
yeah, and I wouldn't either, because this is hard work. I don't know if any of us are as tough as the pioneers, back in the day.
Yeah.
But it is hard work. And anybody that lives this lifestyle, I take my hat off to you. Anybody that's even attempting to live it, I take my hat off to you, because it is a lot of work, but it's also, super, super, super rewarding.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Were you?
Yes.
Yeah, good minds think alike. So anyway, I hope you liked the comments. I wish I could have picked more of them, but time typically is short, and we're just trying to get it out there. But thanks a lot. Well, I hope you enjoyed the comment video. I know that I did. I got to get busy, got lots of things to do, but until we meet again, hold the line. Don't give an inch. Tag out.